My name is Diana, and I'm 31 years old. I never imagined that one day I would be telling my own story like this, a story of struggle, patience, and the small strength a family finds when life becomes heavier than expected. For 6 years, I've lived with my husband Harold in a tiny apartment where every corner holds a memory of us trying our best. Harold worked in construction. It wasn't a big job. It didn't come with benefits, vacations, or comfort, but it was stable. His salary kept our rent paid, our lights on, and food on our table. We never had extra, but we had enough. And in a life like ours, enough felt safe. We had dreams, but they always waited behind bills. Still, I felt grateful. We had a 4-year-old son, Jamie, the brightest part of our small world. When Harold would come home tired and dusty from work, Jamie would run to him, laughing. Those moments made everything feel lighter. Then one evening, Harold returned home with a spark in his eyes. "My boss says I might get a promotion next month." For the first time in a long while, hope slipped into our house. I imagined buying a simple new dress. I imagined a nicer birthday for Jamie. I imagined breathing a little easier. But hope disappears quickly when life has other plans. 2 weeks later, Harold walked through the door with a face drained of color. He sat down slowly, like the weight of the world had settled on his shoulders. "They let me go," he whispered. At first, I didn't understand. Then he said it again. The company was shutting down sites, and he was one of the workers cut off. I felt the ground shift beneath me. I held his hands, trying to steady him even though my own heart was shaking. We had a small amount of savings, barely enough to last a few weeks. Rent, electricity, school fees, everything tightened around my chest. That night, Harold stared at the ceiling, and I pretended not to hear the way he breathed, slow, heavy, worried. I couldn't sleep either. Fear has a way of crawling into the quiet and taking over. The next morning, Harold woke up early and began applying everywhere. Websites, shops, companies, anywhere that had a job available sign. But every day he came home with the same quiet shake of his head, and our savings kept shrinking. Weeks passed, and our home changed in small, painful ways. I cooked cheaper meals, stretching one pot of food over 2 days. I stopped buying anything unnecessary. Jamie needed new shoes, so I stitched his old ones and told him they looked brand new. I sold the only ring I owned that had real value, just to pay rent on time. One afternoon, a friend visited and tasted the food I had made. She said, "Diana, people would buy this. You should sell your meals online." At first, her idea felt strange. I had never imagined turning my kitchen into a business. But desperation makes you brave in ways you don't expect. When I told Harold, he gently shook his head. "You don't need to work. I'll find something, don't worry." His voice tried to sound strong, but I could hear the fear hiding behind it. I told him it would only be temporary, just enough to help us breathe until he found a job. So I took photos of my plates, posted them online, and waited. At first, a couple of orders came, then a few more. The income wasn't much, but it helped keep the lights on. It kept groceries in our kitchen. But the truth is, I was exhausted. I cooked, cleaned, washed, and watched over Jamie all day. Meanwhile, Harold kept trying. He sent applications everywhere. He went to interviews. He walked miles under the sun looking for any chance. And every time he came home without good news, he looked a little smaller, a little more defeated. One night, after a long day of no orders and a warning call from the landlord, I felt my patience snap. Jamie cried in his room, my hands were burning from hot oil, and Harold walked in quietly. I turned to him and said, "You promised things would get better. I'm doing everything I can. I'm tired, Harold. I'm carrying everything." He didn't yell. He didn't defend himself. He just said softly, "I'm trying, Diana. I really am." His voice broke something inside me, not anger, but guilt. He stepped outside and sat on the stairs alone. Through the window, I saw how heavy he looked. I didn't want to crush him. I just wanted him to fight again. The next morning, we apologized to each other. Harold said, "You were right. I need to push harder." And he did. He stopped waiting for the perfect opportunity and went anywhere that might hire him. Small shops, factories, restaurants, even taxi companies. Still no luck. Then one morning, his phone rang. A small factory wanted to interview him. Harold was terrified, scared of hearing no again. I held his hand and said, "Go anyway." 3 hours later, he returned with tired eyes. Then a smile broke across his face. They hired me. It wasn't a high-paying job. It wasn't a promotion, but it was hope. Today, we still live with limits, counting coins, planning carefully, sharing responsibilities. But now the burden is lighter because we carry it together. Life didn't become perfect, but it became possible again. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more.